And hello, and thanks for being there. We're speaking with Richard Venable. He is the Sullivan County Mayor, and we've talked before we came on the air a little bit about it's been 25 years or longer, and I know we're dating ourselves now, but since we've last spoken about some issues that we're going to talk about, and I thought that it might be a good way to get started to, first of all, welcome back.
Thank you.
But what are some of the major changes that you've seen in Sullivan County in the 25 years that we've seen it go by?
Oh my goodness! And looking back that far, John, and that does date us a little bit, but and lots of folks yearn for the good old days. I think the good old days are right now.
Well, good.
And but we did have a different landscape then. We had different folks that we dealt with. I have a little composite photograph in my hall. I go by and see how many people are still in Nashville when I was there as a state representative, and I think there's only 4 or 5. So out of the 99 people, 25 years later, there's 4 or 5 still there. So term limits, they term limit themselves. In the county, revisiting the mayor's office after 10 years, I found 15 new faces and new personalities and new people to deal with. We have so many of the things we deal with are public confidence votes. Does the public have confidence in their government? And that's a big change I see from 1990 to 2015, is the confidence that people have in their government. I can blame that on a 24-hour news cycle. I can blame it on blogs. You can blame it on a lot, but there's just a lot of evolution going on. But I think the confidence level of people in their government has suffered. And when I came back to the mayor's office this time, I told the commission that my main objective was to be as transparent as possible and restore confidence in the process. And by doing that, we'll restore confidence in the people in the process.
What about some things that not you specifically, but that were in the news at that time that the county was working on that they're still facing today?
Well, going back to the General Assembly, of course, the Better Schools program that Governor McWhorter started, and today we deal with a change in our education programs at least every 2 or 3 years. Tin care and health care and how we handle Medicaid in the state was a huge issue then because it was eating up our budget in the state. Find the same problems today, really. We have a different approach to them. It seems like that we have more dictating coming down from above rather than governing from the bottom up now. And that's a common complaint of local politicians. But problems are basically the same, just different people handling from different perspectives.
Okay, we talked a little bit about the economy that we're seeing right now, and you said going back to the good old days. But do you think that it's not been too bad of a year for Sullivan County as a whole?
Been a great year. I had 4 months previous to 2015 in office, September, October, November, December. And we started off the year by looking at Sullivan County's debt. And we are a low debt county. I suspect that per capita we have the lowest debt in the state. And I can probably prove that because it's less than $50 million for 158,000 people. We refinanced all of our long-term debt, saved the county taxpayers over $4 million over a 10-year cycle. So we started off the year with that, and then we went on to the next major problems. We had a school facility study in progress, and that's been completed, and we're dealing with that now.
What about, you mentioned the schools, and it's always an issue of funding for the schools, and where do you think we're going with that, the funding for Sullivan County schools?
Well, I looked over the history when I came back into office, and 2 out of the last 3 years, the school budget actually decreased by 0.7%. Last year it increased by 3%, and that was because they had to spend their reserves on unexpected things, unbudgeted things. So funding at the county level right now, John, if you can believe it, is less today than it was when I left office in 2006, total funding, and it's because we've lost students. The county school system went from about 12,000 and these are round numbers, down to nearly 10 now. So obviously we're spending less money on it. Probably more per pupil, but less money overall.
It's always an issue, though, isn't it?
It is always an issue. I've always found that people are willing to pay for education if you make the case. They don't want to just throw money at an education problem. They want to see results, and they want to see kids graduating with not just a document or a certificate. Right. They want the knowledge there.
Right. Okay, we're speaking with Sullivan County Mayor Richard Venable. We'll be back with more right after this.